I don't know.
Okay. I mean, the guys from D-Dog, their tournament life is on the line, and they're picking a gauntlet this early in the draft with a fade, which, I mean, you run fade in one of two positions, either support or you run them as a core. And if they're running a core gauntlet and a core fade, where does the damage come from? That's already two guys that are heavy in the lockdown, but where's the damage?
Yep, and it's going to from Sandwraith mostly, but he needs a lot of time to get going. And Puppet Warbeast Behemoth is a really fearsome three-hero combo. And like you look at those heroes, and you just think that objectively they're better than what D-Dog's running. So much more damage. They have the ability to push towers. They have counter initiation. They have lockdown. Tons of CC. This is a really good opener, and I like it a lot. I'm not so sure about the 3 melee, and then of course including the Sandwraith for D-Dog.
And they, of course, punish that 3 melee with the big man, with the Aftershocks, Behemoth. And, of course, I mean, you don't normally see the Shrunken Heads coming out super early for Fade, Gauntlet, or ever, really, for Sandwraith. So, definitely could be punished by the Aftershocks. But they're going to be getting into the second banning stage here. Cannon Pang from the guys of D-Dog, making sure that Midas is not going to be handed over once more. Instead, they're eliminating Swiftblade. They're on the other side.
Yeah, Puppet Master's honestly one of my favorite heroes against melees, and it's partly because he's excellent against them in lane, but also because mid-team fight, until they get their Shrunken Heads, he'll be able to land Puppet Shows on whoever he wants. And a Swiftblade Midas bands coming out, I don't know about the Swiftblade ban from MRR. It doesn't really seem like it will make much of an impact. Like, are they really going to pick a Swiftblade with the heroes they already have? So I feel like they kind of threw that one away. Now they ban Ravenar. You know, they might just be not banning heroes and just sort of taking out things that they don't care about.
Yeah.
Maybe, because I can't see them taking either of those heroes. Or maybe there's some crazy tie meta where you go 5 melee and everyone veiled rots and you kill stuff, but that just seems highly unlikely.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure either. Maybe they're distracted by all the cosplayers around here, man.
I don't know. There's a cute chick with a bow and arrow right in front of us, though. Very distracting.
That's a Scout.
That's Scout?
That's Scout.
That's Scout.
I wish we were able to get this on stream, but everybody's going up and taking pictures with the cosplayers, man.
I know, and we can't because we're just sitting here having a cast. So unfortunate. Let's see. 10 seconds. They're running out of time on this ban, so maybe they are thinking about him, but I just don't know what universe they think, oh, Swiftblade Ravenar, that's what we need to take out. They get rid of the Valk. I like that. That's one of those heroes that just is annoying to play against. And right now, you already can see D-Dog's setup. We're going to try and find pickoffs with Sandwraith, just AFK farming. He'll come in with the ultimate, and they just kind of got really good follow-up, and again, just really, really strong team fight.
Yeah, incredibly strong team fight here. The Keg is, of course, going to be able to do some serious work against the double melee, and the energy field is going to really wreak havoc on this Warbeast until he's able to get the Shrunken Head. But at the same time, Warbeast and his minions can take out that turret pretty dang easily.
It's interesting. I actually am getting told that there's no sound on the stream, so we might be talking to ourselves. Or we might not be. But I'm getting a lot of messages. I think it was just fixed, actually. So now everyone can hear us.
Okay.
So you want to do a quick recap of the last, like, 7 minutes of monologue?
I will in just 1 second.
Let's see. Last pick, Pharaoh. It kind of gives away what they're going to be doing. It will be a Puppet Master mid, maybe, and a Warbeast core. I'm not really sure. Pharaoh, actually, you know what? Who played? This could be a whole bunch of different things. It's a very interesting lineup. The Silhouette last pick from D-Dog. That is so much late game. I think that it's a actually solid pick just because of how active these guys have been playing it. And I like Kanan Pang just saying, you know, you can play Silhouette, so can I. Drafts it for himself as the last pick. That is cocky because that last performance will be really, really hard to top.
We've seen Balls X3. He's going to show us Balls X4 here. With that pick, he might just. So Kanan Pang going to be leading his team in with the Silhouette. While on the other side, they've got also the dual core lineup. So, I mean, these are very similar styles of play style. There's a little bit more pickoff from your cores over here on the Legion team, being with the Puppet Master. But on the other side, the Silhouette and Sandraid, they've got the late game advantage, I would think.
Oh, real quick, MRR, once again, they're going to pause, huddle up, and do a chant. I'm just saying, they learn. I don't know, there have been some teams in Han, there are some okay teams that like to huddle up and do chants. They had reasonable amounts of success. So,
Reason Gaming.
Huh?
Reason Gaming. Reason,
right?
No?
Not that. That's not really what I'm thinking of. This is a pretty good team. I think they won, like, I don't know, 5 lands, didn't lose any of them. They're pretty solid, but they fit, like, camaraderie and emotional, you know, just hype was what it took to get land victories. And it worked last game for MRR, and I gotta say, I really like it because it's kind of intimidating. I don't even know if it's intimidating. It's good for yourself, but then the other team, you know, they're just kind of sitting there waiting for you. I mean,
you're icing them out.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it doesn't really work in the NFL, but in gaming, maybe. I mean, it's definitely a lot more finicky and dependent on your mental stamina. So, you know, D-Dog, we'll see if they can kind of bring the hype here. Their draft is, I'm not sure. I think it gives them a little more versatility through the laning phase. I don't think they'll get crushed as hard in those lanes. I'm just not sure how MRR is going to lane this. It could be a bunch of different things, but I actually hope that they safe lane the Warbeast and put, like, Puppet mid. But I have a feeling it's going to be a jungle Warbeast, and that'll be interesting. What?
Puppet Glacius mid.
Yeah, it's scary. It could also just very easily just be standard draft, but we will see. We will see. They could aggro tri-lane and just do Pharaoh Warbeast solos. I mean, it's Chidowan playing the Pharaoh. So I could almost guarantee that he's not going to be in, like, a hard lane position. He almost always seems to be on a hero that gets the early lead. They seem to focus a lot on making sure he has a good start. So I think he'll be either mid or safe lane, but I'm actually thinking mid.
Yeah, I think that you're right that Chidowan most likely did pick that one and end up going mid, so it's likely going to be the off-lane Warbeast, and well, we'll have to see from there. On the other side, though, the off-lane Fade, I mean, what are they actually going to need to shut that out?
Sorry, which hero are they trying to?
Off-lane Fade.
Off-lane Fade. It's Bad Bat's playing it. I'm fairly certain it'll be second support.
Oh, okay. Really? I thought that he was playing the off-lane last game.
He was playing.
I think you need to look. I think you need to look.
No, he was playing the Fade.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm 100% sure.
At one
he was playing the Fade.
He might have had the Kraken in the picking stage. Either way,
yeah,
it's
probably swapped. Yeah.
While we're here on this pause, though, guys, I do want to remind you to go over to hontour.com/World Finals and make sure to check that out. It's, of course, not only got the schedule for the rest of the day, which is pretty simple. We go from this into the grand finals, but it's got the bracket, it's got the results from the group stage, it's got the media, the streams, all kinds of cool stuff over there. One more time at hontour.com/World Finals. And Kyle, let's actually tell the people at home kind of what the event is like right now, because
the rock concert going on.
There's a rock concert going on, which is pretty sick. But not only that, to our right, we've actually got a Mid-Wars tournament going on. There are currently I think 80 stations that are completely filled up with girls down here playing a Mid-Wars tournament in Thailand. It's nuts, man. They're screaming. They're extremely
That's
excited.
what that is. Okay,
yeah.
I was wondering. Jeez. All right, maybe we can keep this pause going. Take a stroll through the crowd. Maybe we'll save that for later, as we just got into the game. Got a 5-man push middle coming out from D-Dog. Probably just trying to get a deep ward up. And it looks like we will have a Glacius, Behemoth, and a Puppet running bottom. And I was right. It's going to be a Pharaoh mid.
A Pharaoh mid, so it's likely going to be a jungle Warbeast.
No, it'll be offlane Warbeast.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. Man, I'm just making all kinds of bad calls. I think I'm smart, and then sometimes you just shut me down, man.
Hey, it's Dunning-Kruger, man. It happens to everybody. Let's see. They're just kind of 5-manning, looking for a kill. The rocket's
what
going to
a
land.
rocket, yeah.
Really good job. They were scouting with wolves anyway. They weren't going to find anything, but it's going to be interesting here because Puppet Glacius Behemoth is a friggin' amazing tri-lane. They have so much CC, so much damage, like especially in the Legion safe lane. It's so easy to land a block with BE. You just Puppet Show something, and it'll be a melee because every core other than the Silhouette is melee, and it looks like Silhouette's going to be mid. And you just block him off, ice block him, boom, he's dead. It's so simple. And they are going to be aggro tri-laning on D-Dog. Gauntlet, Engineer, and Fade. I just don't think that they're going to win, but we'll see. Pharaoh versus Silhouette mid. Pretty even. Nah, not even. Sorry, Silhouette probably wins about 60-40. Would be a lot harder if he was in the safe lane, but mid it's a lot more even. And then up top, you got Warbeast against Sandwraith. And honestly, Warbeast wins that matchup. So right now, I think MRR is once again in a stronger position through the lanes.
So Quincy was actually just pointing out right there that they indeed did have some really strong win rates on the heroes of the Hellborn team. 80% with these player-hero combinations, showing that they are extremely comfortable with these heroes, especially Punk Peng on this Puppet Master. Beat you last year.
Really? He seems to... I thought he beat me with Silhouette.
No, he beat you with Puppet Master.
Interesting. He's still playing it. That's what I like to see. I mean, that's the sort of thing that experience gives you. Actually,
bottom lane, it's actually going to be the Behemoth in trouble. The gauntlet does fall initially, and Behemoth is going to survive.
Yeah.
So God KSSA and MRR scoring the bloodlust there.
Yeah, that's pretty much the lane right there. I mean, I don't think they're going to be able to recover. That was their core. I mean, the Gauntlet's the one who went down, and he's got to run all the way back to base. So that is really, really hard for them to recover from. And especially when you're in the hard lane, like that's a 30-second walk. They're already going to be fighting up against level 2s, and I expect the Legion team to just go for another kill right away. And Chidawan, by the way, is rocketing bottom every time he has it available.
Yeah, putting a little bit of pressure right there, even getting a little bit in the way of vision. And of course, doing some damage, trying to get every single advantage that they can. Let's take a look at the middle lane here, where Pharaoh, like you said, not using the rocket for the middle lane, but currently sitting on 5 and 2, as opposed to the 6 and 4 of the Silhouette.
Indeed. It's a hard matchup for him for sure, but it's so much safer or easier than when Silhouette's in the safe lane. Then it's just a wash. Like, you just hope you can get experience, but there's nothing he can do.
Yeah, and you just saw it right there on your screen, but Quincy was actually pointing out that due to Punk Peng's phenomenal performance in that last game, all Silhouette avatars are 50% off for the next extended period of time. Here's a result of the flash sale system.
Yeah, well, good. I can't wait to buy my new avatars. Bottom, you have an Invis Behemoth, so he's going to try and set up a block. There's the Puppet Show. Oh, and he misses the block. That was a for sure kill. Wow. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about, though. Puppet Show into the block. How do you miss? Well, like that. But it should be impossible. And that would have been another kill on the Gauntlet. And as you can see, they're still all level 1. So the pull is also going to be open. They did just get a Water Revelation down. That should open up the pull, and then they can start gaining an advantage that way. And I just, again, MRR, big advantage through this bottom lane. How's the Warbeast doing top? It looks like he is currently...
It's actually going to be a fight right now. They are both so low on HP. But Warbeast's going to be the one popping off the health potion, as well as the Sandwraith.
Yeah, they're pretty much even. The Warbeast's a slight advantage, which is to be expected. He hits significant. He actually hits for 20 damage more than Sandwraith, so I'm surprised he's not doing better. But probably playing a little passive, scared of rotations. Bottom lane is really, again, the lane that's going to count. Pharaoh doing pretty well mid, 15-4, Silhouette 15-6. So, I mean, doing pretty good. Chidawan, you know, kind of proving that he's got the talent to be a big name, and he's going to be maxing the rocket, which I agree. And he has been consistently landing rockets on this bottom lane, helping out his tri-lane, which I really like to see. Unselfish play.
Bringing up the hero damage here. He has 16% of the hero damage, highest in the game right now. As another rocket comes out, it should boost him on up, and indeed, it is going to connect on 3 heroes in the middle lane. Silhouette going for a dive. What is he doing? He's so deep. And almost died for that. Wasn't even close to getting that kill.
Yeah, he actually got him down like 15 health, though, so that's pretty solid. It's like an auto attack. Well, half an auto attack, not bad. Top lane, Warby still kind of keeping even with the Sandwraith. I think, again, he should be doing a little bit better, but I guess his level's advanced. He will improve. Bottom lane, Puppet, 16-9. The Gauntlet, 6-1. So just total domination in his bottom lane. And the gold and XP advantage don't really show it because, you know, the lanes are, they might be winning, but until they actually were able to shove this Hellborn tri-lane out of the lane, they're going to just kind of maintain a slight lead. And I expect that to happen soon. You already see the Fade rotating towards middle. I'm not quite sure what he's going to be able to get done there. Bottle picked up by the Silhouette as well, just getting a little more sustained. Pharaoh closing in on level 6. Still choosing, he has level 3 Tormented Soul, so he will be maxing that rocket, which is what I think he should be doing, especially if he's going to play as unselfish as he has been.
Oh, wow. Nice scout with the courier right there. Should have seen Fade.
Oh, he did, for sure. Honestly, though, a level 2 Fade and a Silhouette are not able to kill a Pharaoh. I don't know what they're thinking, especially now that he's level 6. There's no way he's going down.
Yeah, might have been trying to get the kill before 6, but he did hit it right there. And Puppet Master Behemoth going to be going in one more time. Won't be able to get the strings on Gauntlet, but he actually gets hooked by Chidawan. And Gauntlet's going to go down.
Yeah, good rotation. Honestly, not even sure. I'm just not sure if it's worth it, to be honest. He's got to run all the way back to base, TP back mid, and yeah, they get a nice kill, but even though Gauntlet's the core, he's level 3. It just doesn't matter. However, they are going to get a pull-off, which is really nice. They need to do that. Then they can land the double pull and start getting a little bit more of an advantage in this lane. So it actually works out because that's what they needed to do to secure this lane. And now they can most likely force the tri-lane away. And where are they going to go? Warbeast could just rotate to the jungle whenever he wants. He's already level 6. Mid, you have a Pharaoh, so he's just going to be rotating, sitting at the tower, getting XP. And the Puppet will hard free farm while Behemoth is able to take creeps from the pulse.
Warbeast over there trying to check and see if there was a top room. Silhouette already managing to grab that one, though. Got a nice haste into her bottle. And so with an open lane here in the middle and the potential to put some damage into the tower, do you actually choose to use this haste and go for a gank, or do you just hang out mid?
Hard to say, to be honest. It really depends on the movement in the game. You actually see Silhouette running into the Legion jungle, looking for something, but don't think he'll find anything. And they're actually going to Sandwraith ulti to potentially die bottom tower.
And she pops off the haste. Behemoth
nice
with the fissure, trying to make it getaway, but here comes the TP. Pharaoh eats the Burning Shadows into the Cull and is able to get the rocket off. Will die, but it's already a 2-for-1 in favor of the guys of Acer Dog, and Silhouette going to be able to make a clean getaway with that haste room.
And that is a 5-man rotation, but they only brought 4 for the Legion team, and it just didn't work out. Up top, Warbeast getting a ton of space. He might actually be able to take this top tower, so I think MRR is A-okay with that. They would have, I think Pharaoh should have just canceled this TP and said, supports, good luck, you're on your own, but unfortunately, he died, which is a big deal because he was actually doing very well in this game. That's going to slow him down significantly. They do get the top tower, though.
I mean, the Glacius actually managed to make it out of there before Pharaoh even TP'd in. At that point, it would have been a 4-man rotation for a Behemoth.
5-man rotation.
5-man rotation for a Behemoth. And at that point,
it was the Puppet who died, but still, one hero, 5-man rotation, and a tower, worth it. And, I mean, they still have control of this bottom lane, so that's nice. 2,000 gold up about. Gauntlet looking for a hook. He is level 5 now. Skipped the Enfeeble. I really don't agree with that. I think that's one of the best 1-point wonders in the game. But maybe he knows something I don't. I've been out of the game for a while.
And not that long. I'm sure you still get your average mid-wars in every once in a while, right, Kyle?
Nothing but.
There you go.
See, Sandwraith gonna just actually static farm this top lane, and this is one of the things about pushing so early, is that yeah, they take the tower, but and Warbeast actually has rotated bottom already, so I hope they continue to push, because you don't want to just give Sandwraith a free lane to just farm as much as he desires.
Quincy dropping the stats right there. Gauntlet seems to be a pretty dang hit or miss hero. I mean, teams like BMG and Super KGE, who's in the house by the way, they definitely would run him, but they need to rotate so heavily to make sure that he's able to take those good early engages and get the snowball going. But instead, now we're going to see a pretty sizable standoff here. Sandwraith Ultimate is going to pop off. This could be 4 heroes coming in, and it is going to be 4, but Sandwraith gets turned around on. Behemoth blocks the rest of the team on out of there, and Sandwraith will fall. Warbeast Ultimate is up. Silhouette's here. This is now a 5-on-5 encounter, but Silhouette's just going to walk away from the puppet show. And it's just going to be a 1-for-0 exchange. And Sandwraith is the only one to fall in that 10-man.
Yep, 5-on-5, full rotation. That Fissure was massive.
Yeah.
Totally blocked off the Hellborn follow-up. And they kill the Sandwraith, which is the exact hero they want to kill. He went in a little deep there, and again, if you look, level 2 Engineer, level 3 Fade, and their only real catch is this Gauntlet, who did not get in range to use his ultimate. If they can't land that, they have no way of chasing down the heroes, especially when they have a Fissure to back them up, and there's a bot tower, so well done by MRR, taking a 3,500 gold lead. Keep in mind about all of that is just those towers, but that's not a big deal if they can continue to press their advantage.
They capitalize with that tower, and they will continue on. A nice little ward being placed by Glacius here. Is that actually in sight of the tower? Barely not. Wow. That is very, very close. But in any case, that's going to provide a nice amount of vision down here in the bottom lane, as they do want to protect their own Tier 1 tower. And Glacius, unfortunately, is going to pay for that one and even loses the ward of sight. So maybe not worth it.
Not worth it all. It's really, really crappy when you lose one of your fresh place wards. They'll only have one for like another 7-8 minutes or so. Let's see. Looking around, MRR just, they kind of need to keep the pressure up. You actually see an Invis rune picked up by the Puppet Master, so this might mean that he gets to collect a free kill. Gold per minute wise, it's fairly even. The Warbeast's top in the game, which is really nice because he's the hero that really needs to snowball for MRR to win this game. Punk Pang is actually going to be rushing the Shroud, which I actually agree with. And it looks like right now he's up top hunting for this Silhouette and Sandwraith. Invis just faded, but there is a Pharaoh here as well now. They might be able to get a kill.
And he's got the poor man's Shroud. That Invis rune, will they actually try to set up? Puppet Master having to fall back initially. It doesn't look like they're actually going to go for anything. Silhouette just going to be doing a little bit of farming near that Sandwraith. So 2 cores probably don't want to be engaging into that, knowing that the Tier 2 tower is only a couple seconds away.
The only thing I don't really like is they've kind of left this bottom lane to the Gauntlet, and once it gets a blink, it totally changes the dynamics of every team fight. And I'm not sure that they wanted to let him recover here, much like they did Sandwraith once they took that top tower. They need to keep the pressure up, or at the very least start out-resourcing D-Dog, because their advantage has been dwindling because they're just not utilizing the map as well as their opponents. And they just kind of need to keep making things happen. They already have the Abyssal on the Warbeast. They can push very effectively. I'd like to see them continue doing that, but they might just wait for the Shroud. It's not like there's a distinct late-game advantage for D-Dog, but their supports scale a lot better, and there's just more. It's a lot easier for their heroes to get their abilities off and get their damage out. I really don't know how well Warbeast is going to have, how good of a game he's going to have against the double illusion core lineup from D-Dog.
Sure. And
just so much CC as well, just from the Gauntlet, the Engineer, and the Fade.
Pharaoh was trying to actually find the Silhouette, and Will gets the Rocket Scout. Does not want to follow up with the hook, even though he had the Haste Rune. Do you think it would have been going a little bit too deep right there?
He only has the level 1 Hellfire. I don't think it's possible for him to score that kill. It was just too far away from his team.
A little bit under leveled.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to those rotations. He's been just kind of helping his team out a lot. Even though he had a good laning stage, he didn't really capitalize on it and just chose to get a couple of kills, which, again, this is kind of Tai Han. You know, they just go for the kills, and they don't really think about the downsides, you know, leaving the lane and allowing your opponent to catch up, because, as you say, he is only level 7, which means his damage output is very limited. And, in fact, there really isn't much damage output at all from this Legion team right now. They've got a level 5 Glacius, level 6 Behemoth. They need a lot more time to start really getting to the point where they can just win fights. And Sandwraith just farming top, going to be pushing for that Mock of Brilliance.
And he's not too far off of that. I mean, he's got 1,000 gold, so.
Yeah, but he already has the Energizer and the Steam Boots, which is all the build-up you really want on that hero.
Please, Swindle. It's only 4,000 gold. He's not too far off.
Yeah, he'll get there. And I feel like MRR is kind of operating on a clock. I like their lineup. I like the fact that they've taken all 3 towers, but to be behind in experience and not even up the sum of the tower gold you already possess, it's just not enough. They're not in the same position they were last game, where they had a very big lead.
Yeah.
They kept forcing, getting kills, getting tier 2s, taking Kongor. And at this point, they're just not in a dominant enough position to just sit back and farm. There is going to be a Shroud picked up on Puppet very soon. He's sitting at 2,400 gold, and he is quite. He's doing pretty good. 350 GPM. That's not bad. He's doing a lot better than I thought he was. I just felt like he should have had a Shroud a little while ago, but 14 minutes is not bad. However, only at level 8, so I'm not certain how many heroes he can actually solo kill. He would need to land a really good ult Puppet Show combo and have them attack their own Puppet, I'm pretty sure, to guarantee that he could kill him before they were able to react after the CC breaks.
Now, it's interesting that Quincy actually brings up a projected win rate right there of about 60% for the guys in Neo MRR, pushing them into the grand finals. I'm not so sure that I'm confident based on the current stats. Maybe it looks that way, but based on momentum, what we know could be coming, as they actually do have the Pharaoh hook on in there, and Puppet is going to be trying to go for the Puppet Show. Will it be enough? No, they're not going to be able to grab the Silhouette on the backside over here, though. They will grab the Fade. So once more, a 9-man engagement. Fade's the only casualty.
That's fine, though. They will get an objective out of that, which is what's important. So even though they don't win the fight too convincingly, Sandwraith blows his ult, they get the kill. Silhouette lived with 150 health, and that's solely because he tread swapped well to strength, and he also had the Energizer. So build up items on both Silhouette and Sandwraith, trying to take these early engagements. They just kind of got jumped there at Ancients, but still, this should also be, looks like 6 Predators that are just going to get ulted by Behemoth, so he's like, thank you very much. He's only 200 gold from his blink.
And that is going to be devastating. But of course, you're going to be putting your team on the hunt to try to stop the Sandwraith from getting his Mock of Brilliance, and a blink on Behemoth is a great way to start that off.
Yep.
So be on the lookout for that one pretty dang quick here. And with no towers down, the guys from Dog are losing space very rapidly.
Yep.
No bottom tower means that your Ancients are not going to be very well protected. You've got to be pretty damn careful.
Again, MRR, they just need to make sure that they keep the pressure up and they take map control. They're in a really solid position now. The gold, but again, you got to keep in mind the gold is only from the towers.
Sure,
so they need to use their map control to gain an advantage, resource control. They can't just sit back. So they're going to take this triple ancient stack with the Puppet Master. That'll allow him to finish his completed helm, Whispering Helm. But they need to immediately look to make something happen. And they don't need to necessarily go force a tier 2 or a team fight, but they want to exercise control on the map.
And that appears to be what they're doing to the best of their ability. How the Black Legion finished up here on your Pharaoh. So not too much in terms of the utility items. Just going to be going for the raw tanky build. Going to be able to initiate and then hopefully have the Puppet Master and the War Beast come and back him on up. And maybe even get the damage from the Behemoth. But a nice Silhouette play right there. Able to go ahead and push down the bottom tower. Should you have defended that if you were from the MRR squad?
That's a really risky tower to defend. They did have good vision, which is why I'm surprised that they didn't. So maybe they expected some Veiled Rots, but they have actually. Oh no, sorry, that's a Rev Ward. That's not a real ward. So they did not have vision. It's a risky fight, and I don't think they needed it. But they weren't really getting much done. They took a triple Ancients, and they were farming relatively efficiently. But again, the map's 50-50 right now, even though they own 4 towers to Neo up to D-Dog's 1. So again, I just feel like they need to do more, but it is very difficult. There's a blink on Gauntlet. There's a fade on the other team. You're scared, especially because you don't see, like, Sandwraith can just jump in at any time. And it really forces you to play a lot more conservative because there's so many heroes on the D-Dog side that scare you. Silhouette at 3.5k as well, by the way, so I have no idea what he'll be going for.
Needs to spend some money, though. I mean, the blink could be the more aggressive, the mobility, the split push option, or we could be even seeing something like the Firebrand that does a lot of those same things, but gonna need to spend it before they have to get into that engagement, and that engagement could be coming very soon as the Howl is popped. Warbeast and Puppet Master, the core is going to work on this top tier 2.
Yeah, and keep in mind, Warbeast has 3,000 gold as well. I mean, insane. That's another tier 2. We'll see. I think that the next play has got to be to go for Kongor, but they might just, you know, pressure the tier 3, force them back, and then back away as 5, which they've already rotated out, so not looking to really get anything. There's an Invis rune on the Behemoth, however, who has also picked up his portal key with already 3 points in heavyweight.
So that Behemoth going to be dropping the aftershocks here in the fight. Going to be very strong, and when do you see the first Shrunken Heads coming out to actually counter that up?
Yeah, we will see. I think Sustainer is picked up on Silhouette, so he will be going for the Nullstone. I'm not sure if it's ideal here, but it's not bad. It's very effective against Puppet Master. If you're quick, you should be able to port out using your ultimate. Oh, wow, Puppet Show. Oh, that's silly. Okay, so the Hellhound broke Invis a little late, I guess, and the Fade didn't have the Puppet Show activate. It's a very glitchy ability, always has been, and it just looks like it didn't associate the Wolf as a target. Otherwise, that would have been a nice kill, and a certainly dead Fade there, but alas, it will not be. Puppet shrouding in, you know, just being a nuisance. Warbeast will actually be going his a Shrunken Head. He'll have that finished very soon. And I feel like they're going to once again look to try and end the game relatively early, which I think is the right call, because Sandwraith, 3,400 gold, Nullstone on Silhouette. They're not really threats right now, but give them 10 minutes and they'll get scary.
I think that you might be right. That Mock of Brilliance perhaps on the way, but there's the Shrunken Head. Finished up, as you said, the pressure on the mid-tier 2 is being applied. So if they end up losing this one before the Silhouette and the Sandwraith are able to really come online, they're going to have lost all map control. They may even lose the Kongor as well, which is an incredibly key thing for, of course, going high ground. It will be the next objective of the MRR team. Do you fight the Kong?
I'm not sure. The thing is, this game, D-Dog doesn't have nearly the same high ground strength that MRR did last game. Or rather, no, sorry, totally wrong teams. Their high ground isn't as good as it was last game. They need Gauntlet to, in essence, blink and grapple back, but if it misses, then they know they have about 20 seconds to just push the tower hard and get damage on it. They're already getting the mid tower to half health, and they've forced every enemy hero, sans that Sandwraith, back to base. Keep in mind, Pharaoh, though, only level 9, dude.
There's actually a Puppet Master here. Oh my gosh, he's going to get the show. He's got to get he misses
lost
the
vision.
show. Wow. No vision, and that would have been a kill on the enemy core as he was picking up his Sword of the High. That would have been massive.
And that is so big that he didn't do that. I mean, Behemoth is a great hero. Glacius, not bad, but the Mock of Brilliance is one of the best hero. It's just so good against Behemoth. You could prevent his initiation for so long, and then you can just jump to him if he's fissured and pretty much kill him by yourself. Glacius has to just freeze and run away, and he'll get to half health anyway just through like the Mock of Brilliance burn. So it's going to be so big, and I think MRR needs to get something done, either Kong, a Rack, something, before this Sandwraith can pick up his Mock, because once that happens, the game will go on for a lot longer, but it's going to be a lot more difficult for them to win. Warbeast also has a finished Shrunken Head, so they might just go for the Death Ball, try and take the fight that wins the game here.
Certainly what it looks like it could be. There's already a couple.
Puppet's getting so unlucky. He almost killed the Engineer, like twice now. He misses kills just by a hair.
So the Puppet Master is sitting there with that Mighty Blade. Don't know if he's going to be going for the Shrunken Head before they end up going for the high ground push or not. But MRR, they're playing cautious. They know that this could decide the game and their entrance to the grand finals. They need to make sure not to throw this next fight, but at the same time, they're on a timetable. And the Mock of Brilliance was just picked up by Sandwraith.
Yep. This is now not really a timing they want to take any more fights. They also, by the way, picked up the Bound Eye. Interesting. I like the choice. It allows them, like, they have total control now of the Hellborn jungle. You can see they have 2 wards up, and there is no vision whatsoever from D-Dog. So they have control over the Roche Pit as well. So they're in such a good position right now to take a good fight, but Sandwraith can just throw even the best laid break all the best laid plans into pieces no matter what, just by hitting the R button. Suddenly that Bound Eye goes straight into his pocket, and that is what they're looking for on D-Dog now. If you look at experience, they're 4,000 ahead. They've been playing a really good split push game, much better than last game, and they have stronger heroes as well.
Well, right now, both sides playing relatively passive, the map control game, although we did just see the Veiled Rot King coming out on the guys here at D-Dog. They wanted to try to find somebody in the enemy team's jungle, but weren't quite able to, and now they're actually going to be finding the Silhouette, and they go for the pickoff. And not a bad catch. Yeah, I saw it happening, and I go to move, and he was dead immediately.
Yep, and they might actually just backdoor mid-tower. I like the idea. He does have a buyback, and this could be risky. They used a lot of ultimates there. Glacius ult down, Puppet ult down, but if they could get this tower, it is well worth forcing, and this was the right decision. They just have to be very careful that Gauntlet doesn't land a quick grapple in.
Now what they don't know, actually, is that the Fade did not have a TP, nor did the Engineer. So they were not able to get back, although they did make it to the side shop and buy those.
Yeah, the Fade also picking up a portal key as well.
Oh, so wow, that's nice.
They're going to get the mid tower, which is really nice. They needed that, and they are 8,000 gold ahead. They're in really the same position they were last game. Question is, will they win the team fight to
Fade's
decide?
looking for the Burning Shadows. Is going to be able to get the Burning Shadows onto the Puppet Master. The Keg is going to miss. Hook onto 2. Engineer ultimate is out. Puppet Master going to be able to whiplash down the Engineer. Sandwraith ultimate is going out on 2. The Gauntlet not really doing a whole lot, and Gauntlet's going to die. Takes Pharaoh into the tier 4s. Pharaoh's going to fall. Silhouette trying to tree grapple on out of there, and it looks like on the backside, Puppet Master was able to finish off the Sandwraith. This is going to be your mid-ranks. Swindle, could this even be the game?
Oh, wow. Nice initiation there. Silhouette going to land the tree grapple onto the beam, and he'll die as well. Fade so low, 40 health. Probably going to die to the wolves.
Oh, getting fogged,
Oh,
is
man.
able to get the kill. Silhouette going to be coming on in, though, and she does manage to finish up the War Beast. So gets the quad kill. That was massive.
That was a huge turnaround. It looked almost lost for them. The Sandwraith had no buyback, and then suddenly Silhouette just comes through after healing up. Quad kill.
10 seconds earlier, I said, could this even be the game? And then you get that quad kill. That is how fast you turn it around right there.
That was just really well played. He got the really nice Death Lotus off. Boom, boom. Replay coming up on the screen right now. Just kidding. It might be in a second. And then he just gets before the Fissure happens. That was so huge. Otherwise, the Behemoth lives for sure, and he ends up finishing everybody off. Puppet, they did take out the Sandwraith in the background. We didn't really see that happening. Here's the replay. He escapes, and then he's going to reinitiate as Behemoth, after Behemoth dunks, and then they just aren't ready for it.
Yeah, they're just not ready at all now on your live screen. Silhouette's actually clearing out some Ancients right there, making sure that she's going to be continuing to get that far. And Quincy was saying that Silhouette, something like 0-12, 0-18, below 500 GPM. She's getting closer and closer to that mark. But there's not a whole lot of help coming from her team. The Sandwraith, of course, falling pretty close behind. Although Sandwraith does pop off the ultimate to assist the Silhouette. They grab the Glacius kill.
He grabs the Bound Eye and then immediately ports out right before Puppet lands his Q on him. So that's a big deal. That's an eye going the way of the other team, and that's a big gold swing. Experience is still significantly in favor of D-Dog, but there is still a gold lead on MRR, but I think, again, they're at the point where they lose a fight, they're going to lose the game for sure. The Puppet does finish his Shrunken. I like the choice, and they are still in an okay position. I'd really like to see Behemoth get level 11 before this next fight, but I don't know if that's going to be possible. And they're in a position now, no Sandwraith ultimate. This is a pretty good timing to take a fight and trying to get these melee racks.
They're going to go for it.
Oh, that's actually the ranged racks. Wow. I totally forgot that they were positioned as they were. Puzzle Box picked up on the Warbeast. So they're going to get this ranged racks, but I feel like they should be in a different lane here, maybe pressuring. They do get the glyph.
The glyph. Wow, that is really strange. They have to make a play off this. Silhouette's going to go in. There's the Shrunken Head and the ultimate from Warbeast. The racks go down. That was a completely wasted glyph.
Yeah, it was a completely wasted Shrunken Head as well, however, so I think it's a decent trade. I don't really think that was worth, it just gives now 5 minutes or so for this Sandwraith to just grab his next item, which will either be a Geo's or a Nullfire Blade. I'm leaning towards the latter, and I just don't think it was worth a range rack to give them 5 minutes. And you see Gauntlet, nothing new. Like, they really have no items on anyone other than the core heroes. Silhouette and Sandwraith, they're both very farmed. Silhouette sitting on 3,700 gold. I think his item has to be a Shrunken, but he
they're
could go
actually going to be going for a fight here in the jungle. Fade, the target from Puppet Master, will finish him off with the ultimate.
Yeah. He used his Shrunken there as well, however.
Yeah.
And that is what Silhouette went for. Interesting.
Puppet Master.
Indeed. They're going to go for Kongor, though. I think this is the right call. Sandwraith ulti is down, and they know that, which makes this for sure the right choice. And then again, we're in the same position we were last game, Beef. 30 minutes in, 5,000 gold ahead, 7,500 experience behind. They're going to get the token. They're going to go bottom with 1 racks already down and try to win the game. And it's really going to come down to this fight after this Aegis goes for the token. Oh, wow, Silhouette's going in to be
coming in, trying to get the steal. Will she be able to? The Shrunken Head is going, and she's not able to get it, at least just yet. Glacier is going to be able to actually grab the token of life, gets the giant ultimate off, and they're able to finish off this Sandwraith in the middle of that. So Glacius making the play right there. Time Pico.
Yeah. Silhouette barely escaped there. I cannot believe she made it out. And as you said, Glacius takes the token and then a massive ultimate, which really was what finished off the Sandwraith, and it helped him survive as well. There's going to be a Hellborn pause. Not quite sure why. It might be technical difficulties. Might be, oh crap, guys, we might get knocked out of this tournament if we don't get our shit together. However, that is a big deal because now they cannot put the token on the Puppet Master, and it makes it a lot more difficult for them to try and end the game. And I don't even know if they can try and go high ground because, again, Fade, Engineer, Gauntlet, it's so hard, and especially with Silhouette just blinking in, using the tree grapple, immediately porting out, and all the time, Sandwraith doesn't have to be there. So at best, you're losing resources because the Sandwraith never has to participate. He can just ulti, come right in if you choose to dive the base.
Sure. And so now, like you said, with that token on the Glacius, makes it a little bit harder to push. Was it even the right call for the Glacius to be going for that, or do you have to trust that your carry is going to be able to pick it up, utilizing a Shrunken Head?
Did you see what D-Dog just did there? They brought over every member of their team. They had a little huddle just talking to both players about what I guess their game plan was, but it looks like that was certainly a strategy pause, which I am all in favor of. I like the decision.
Yeah, very interesting indeed. Glacius after that nice big kill on Sandwraith, able to finish up an Astrolabe.
Who in Astrolabe?
Glacius.
Really?
Not
interesting.
An item that you see normally this late in the game.
Yeah, not at all. I don't mind it. It will help him survive against the Sandwraith, but I always feel like Saxstone's a better item, especially at this stage, but whatever floats your boat, it's not bad, and maybe it saves a teammate's life. Behemoth did hit level 11, by the way, and that is a Puzzle 2, now finished on Warbeast. So they're hitting a point where they will have a very strong team fight. I'm just not sure it's going to be enough, Beef.
It is going to be very interesting, and I think that, once again, like you said, last game, this is not a game necessarily reflected by the stats. You might think, oh, maybe one team's a little bit more further ahead, but it's actually split pretty well down the middle, and I guess that's what the stats say as well. They back it up for once. the stats say it. Quincy's not lying to us.
The key is going to be to get this Silhouette to play defensively in fights. They want him to blow his ultimate early. They want him to blow his Shrunken Head early and make it so that he can't just play with them in the middle of these fights. And he's a big source of the Hellborn team's damage. And here comes the puzzle box is popped, wailing on this tier 3 top, and it's going down fast.
And what is the response here? It looks like the Silhouette, okay, she did make it back. I was saying she did have a TP, but the tower's gone. Absolutely nothing done so far. Veiled Rot going to be popped off, and Fade going to get a big initiation, but he's so far back here. There's the Sandwraith ultimate going to be going out. Did have an illusion rune as well. But what are they going to do? Pharaoh's now going to be the one going deep. He's going to be able to grab the Engineer. Engineer going to be able to pop off his ultimate, but Warbeast just goes Shrunken Headed on up. And this should be Rex. There's no buybacks.
None at all.
That was
They still have the Gauntlet ult up, but there's no Sandwraith ulti. That was just, oh wow, tree grapple.
They're going to be going in on Glacius, but he's the one with the Token of Life and a support. Gauntlet's likely going to be the first one to fall right here. And Glacius comes back up with the biggest ultimate of his life. Sandwraith is in massive trouble trying to get on away here, but will he be able to? I'm not sure. On the backside, Silhouette versus Behemoth, and Behemoth looking like he might actually be the one that comes out on top. Glacius coming on in, the supports trying to zone out the Silhouette, while of course the racks are dying. It looks like our guys from Neo MRR are in a massive lead.
Yeah, and you can see D-Dog on their camera. I think that might have been the Fade player. Head in his hands, just can't believe what just happened. Really poor decision making, and they definitely seem tilted. That was just such a poorly executed team fight. They want to fight on the high ground, and instead they go all the way to the enemy's high ground. They blow Sandwraith's ultimate, and Silhouette he can't make plays if you make him jump out that far, and it was just not what they wanted. Oh man, Fade, Engineer both go down, no buybacks. It makes the fight so much easier to take. 12,000 gold ahead, only 2,000 experience behind. That's irrelevant at this point. They have the levels they need, and they're just 1 racks away from victory.
They are indeed. So the guys from Dog, mental state maybe not the best, but they need to recover, or they're going home.
Yeah, pretty much. And this is just really scary. They've got a puzzle 3 on the Warbeast now. The Pharaoh's at 3,000 gold. A triangle just picked up on the Glacius, and it looks like Puppet should be closing out on an item soon. He only has 500 remaining, so I imagine he finished something, but I'm not sure. He didn't buy back. I know he has more gold than that. Maybe he did. He has a buyback used. Did he buy back that fight? I don't think so.
I actually am not sure. We can actually pull it up here and check. Maybe we're not actually able to see because he might not have died a second time. I didn't think that he did. He might have actually bought back at the very end, but they are going to go ahead and catch the Fade here. So a nice pick. Once again, no buyout. And is Bad Bats actually going to make a couple mistakes that cost his team? Maybe. The team fight is coming on in. Glacius with a big ultimate once more. The NG ultimate is dropped. Puppet Master in some trouble though. Sandwraith not able to finish him off. Puppet's able to get on out of there. Silhouette going to maybe try to finish off this Puppet. Will he be able to? If he does, it might not even matter. They're going to be going for the racks. And Silhouette does finish off the Puppet. Will they get these racks though? I mean, they're putting damage onto him.
And Warbeast is really low. I'd like to see him commit though. There's just a Silhouette, and he's going to need to make some serious plays.
They'd have bought back if they had it.
Yeah, I mean, this is all on Pink now. He'll have to prove that the last pick Silhouette was the choice.
And they're backing off. They're afraid. 1-on-4. The Fade did respawn.
Yeah, but there's really no reason to force that hard. They're in a winning position now. They just need one more fight. Kongor's respawning. This was a very disciplined play by MRR. You don't want to force there and risk misplaying, losing 2, losing 3. Suddenly Silhouette pops out. He's got Geos and he's halfway to his next item. That was a really smart decision. They're going to relax, stay cool, stay focused. They did a lot of damage to the tier 3. They have a big advantage. They just need to relax, wait for Kongor, win the game. Disciplined play.
Well, it looks like MRR has read the guide-winning Han by Swindlemones. They're executing pretty damn well so far. They've got just a little more to hang on to if they want to be making it to the grand finals to play against Bad Monkey Gaming for the title of the best team in Han.
Indeed.
We'll see if they can maintain that composure because D-Dog, as you said, I mean, a couple mistakes already from Fade that have cost his team dearly.
Indeed.
Bad Bath needs to get his head in the game.
Yeah, you can just tell that they're tilted. I mean, looking at the camera, I can only see those two guys, but they're just so unsure of themselves, you know, head in their hands, just so frustrated. You know that they're not focused. They can't be. And they really just need to relax. I thought the strategy pause for sure would help them out, but maybe they just need a chant. Maybe that's what's missing, B. Screw the lucky scarf.
Who let the dogs out, man? That should be their chant.
Indeed. I mean, the fortune teller is behind Lord Mikael, but he's 1-5-4, not really having the greatest game. And I think if they're going to have any chance in this at all, they need Sandwraith to be able to take out the behemoth at the start of the fight. But he's got a green triangle too, Beef. These supports have reached the point where I don't think he can kill either one anymore.
They're huge. I mean, we saw at the fight there in top lane, Behemoth almost killed Silhouette by himself. Glacius was making his way over, and you do not want your #1 core, your carry that has all the farm in the world, to be afraid of the enemy team supports. That is not a position where you're winning.
I would agree. Pharaoh sitting at 4,000 gold, by the way. I'm pretty sure he's just unaware of what he needs to do. I didn't actually read that stat. What did Quincy give us?
Quincy says that Gauntlet is in danger of setting a new record low GPM on the hero, which is currently 134. He's at 183 right now. So,
geez, he'd have to make some serious throws to get that low.
Yeah,
but
it still
definitely demonstrates that he's not playing the greatest game.
Hit or miss, that's for sure. Bottom lane one more time. 5 players from MRR. Are they going to make it into the grand finals once more and have their shot at gold? Looks like they may. They're going to force the high ground right here with this creep wave. Puzzle box is popped. Engineer Cake trying to buy a little bit of time. Silhouette clearing it out a little bit. Not going to initiate. Swaps back out to the illusion as well.
Yep, they're just pressuring. But again, the thing is, Sandwraith's one of the best carries to have in this situation because this whole time, he's just farming away. So he's recovering a little bit of the lead that they are, or the deficit that they currently suffer from. And they can't punish it, really, because they just, you know, they can't send someone up there because, boom, they'll take the team fight bottom. Rocket coming out, they're just scouting. They have a ward up for Kongor. They have 1 ward on the enemy high ground. Really like this ward placed by Time Pico. I don't know if you can see it, but it's right on the, they actually, it gives high ground vision into the base, I believe, and it's a very, very useful ward to have. They just want to sit here, prevent them from leaving their base, take Kong, take the game. They might continue to push once the puzzle box is back up, but I just really don't think it's a good idea to be pushing here with Kong so close to respawning and nearly 5,000 gold on your Pharaoh saved up.
Oh, Gauntlet's actually going to go in, but Warbeast with the land reflexes was able to get the Shrunken Head. The Engineer ultimate's going to be going off, but Warbeast is able to just get on out of there. Cheetah 1 on the Pharaoh is going to fall, but Glacius doing a big ultimate. Fade's going to drop. And so far, 2 heroes down. They have a buyback available on the Sandwraith, who actually dropped. How the heck did Sandwraith die?
He just committed too hard. I mean, he was just sitting in the middle of his Engineer ulti, but it looked like Puppet's ultimate actually just wiped him out so quickly, and there's nothing he can really do. Once he goes in and identifies himself as the real target, he just goes down, and there's a Null Stone picked up on Punk Bang.
And once more, another pause going to be coming out. They know that they have 2 heroes down, 1 with a buyback, 1 without one. And of course, the puzzle box is available. Towers are down. They could actually just sack the puzzle box and a couple of heroes and grab these towers.
Yep,
grab the racks.
That's all they really need to do. They need to focus on buildings. With the tower down, the game doesn't become so much about winning the fight, just prolonging it so that they can actually take out the racks. And once they get that bottom racks, the game becomes so difficult for this D-Dog team to win. Even though they've fought ferociously, and they're just not quite able to win the fights that they need to win the game. And I'm actually so surprised that MRR rather, keep adding the extra M, has managed to get such an advantage. And I really think a lot of that is just D-Dog kind of being off their game. And MRR definitely seems to be. Yeah, and MRR just seems to be prepared. They are executing their game plan. Like, they are playing their own game and daring D-Dog to beat them, and I think that that's really helping them at this, you know, semifinal stage.
And it looks like we may be ready to go. The guys from ACER Dog ready to go. And here we are. Looks like MRR going to choose to fall back, regroup a little bit here before forcing anything out. Puppet Master even going so far as to pop the Assassin Shroud, but although Glacius almost getting taken out by Silhouette there. Had a nice fissure from his buddy Behemoth, and of course the green triangle himself. And now they're going to be taking down Kongor, and without expending a buyback, there's not a whole lot that can be done. The Wing Courier is going to go on in. Silhouette initiating with the Shrunken Head, is able to take down the Glacius very quickly. The Illusion's doing some work, but Warby's going to town. And now there's no Shrunken Head on the Silhouette. Do they just go back in and recommit?
I mean, at this point, Sandwraith will have ultimate when he spawns, which he just did, and I think it's a decent time to fight. But again, they didn't really expend anything on this Legion team other than the Warbeast's Shrunken Head, and the Courier, oh, it's going to survive.
All right, here's Sandwraith ultimate going to be going off, and Silhouette is able to annihilate them within a stun. And Puppet Master, he's all by himself over here. He's in a lot of trouble. Silhouette was able to clean up the backline. Puppet's able to get away from now because he is invis. He retains the bound eye, but the rest of his team cleaned up.
It was actually an excellent play. The Silhouette once again lands the tree grapple as Sandwraith ports in. Boom, Behemoth's dead. Fade initiates at the same time onto the Warbeast. Before the Shrunken Head, Silhouette runs over, whacks him twice, and now he's going to take the token as well, Beef. This is a big deal, and they may have just started their road to a comeback. And
Puppet's in trouble here in the bottom lane. The Engineer ultimate, and he is going to go down. Drops the bound eye. This Strap Pause might have worked.
Second time's a charm, I suppose. Maybe they consulted their fortune teller, got their signs in order, and changed the order of the planets, and that's what they needed. Maybe the 2 minutes got Mars in the right place, because that was a huge turnaround. The thing is, they're still one mistake away from losing, and that's the key, is that against a Warbeast, the rat is real, and you have to be concerned about your buildings. There's no backdoor protection. There's no rule against it. With Glyph down, that's such it dies so fast to a puzzle box. And there's the he's actually picking up a full Frostfield plate. Wish he'd done it earlier. That might have helped his team that previous engagement.
It could have, but ultimately I feel like it was just solid play by the Silhouette. She was hiding in those trees for so long. Able to get off the perfect pick on the counter initiator, and then Puppet Master moving the wrong direction, got completely segregated from his team, and that was not enough to help them out. They die to Silhouette. She grabs the Aegis, and now we're back to the waiting game.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, the Legion team just wants to fight together in a very small area. They don't, and the Hellboy team wants them to split up. Wants Silhouette to be able to pick at people, Sandwraith ultimate to really confuse them, and then Fade and Gauntlet can initiate without going down. If they can just take a fight, wait for token to fade, they will still have a pretty good position. There's still 9,000 gold ahead, but this might be the fight.
Fade could be in a little bit of trouble right here. Oh!
Missed the hook.
Barely.
It's a long cooldown on Wrath of the Pharaoh as well. 60 seconds.
And
that will be down.
Popping off the ultimate. A little bit of information more than anything else. And they'll grab a tier 1 tower off this. No, gonna pop off the Glyph.
Yep. Only 80 seconds on the cooldown, so not that bad, and it's not that large of an ability. I mean, if Pharaoh's gonna hook and miss, you can safely ult and then just know you have about a 20-second window where you have to avoid fighting. And Silhouette's just getting really scary. He has 5,000 gold. I'm really interested to see what his next item will be. At the moment, he has the token in the slot, and I feel like a Wingbow is probably the best option, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him pull out either a Genjuro, maybe even a Savage Mace. We'll see. I mean, truthfully, against two of these Void Talismans, maybe a Harkons? Am I thinking too hard? Because it could be possible, but it's not going to happen. But, it's just an idea. Albeit a bad one.
I don't know. I think that it actually could be decent. These supports have been doing work. They've been doing massive amounts of work here. Now, the one thing about that is it's not necessarily going to help him out against the split push, which is realistically the way that he's going to need to get back in this game is split pushing his way to a little bit more map control so that when they do eventually take a fight, win that fight, then they can actually do something with it instead of having to clear through tier 1 and tier 2 towers. But as far as those fights go, the Harkons could help.
Yeah, you see actually a Shrunken Head finished on Sandwraith.
Oh,
that
look
was
at this
really
fade
needed.
though. She's doing the scouting. She wanted him. That was close for a second there. And once more, Veiled Rot's going to be going off. It's amazing how much investment is put into these Veiled Rots.
Indeed. It's such a valuable tool, especially at this stage of the game. And they really wanted to fight. You see, actually, Silhouette going to sell or drop the Shrunken and pick up a Wing Bow, which I like. It's just on the Courier now, floating around them. And he's going to pick that up when his token goes down. I really like that decision. Really boosts his damage, and you don't really want to use your Shrunken until your token fades anyway, so it's a very nice move, but they're not going to get that fight, I don't think, until they only have a minute, so I really don't see them taking it. MRR is just playing way too conservative, which is exactly what they need to do. Wait for token to fade, lose a little bit of your advantage, but not the game, and then make the play and the team fight for the racks.
If they're able to keep these lanes shoved in the way that they have been here, they're definitely going to be in a good position to actually just march down the bottom lane, pop off their Shrunken Heads, pop that puzzle box, assail the racks, maybe even take a team fight with it. And then, of course, if the creeps are pushing into the base, tier 4 damage, maybe even a tier 4 tower kill. They've got the space to do that.
Indeed. War Beast, not really close to anything. I'm surprised.
Oh, they might get this fade.
Maybe. He's positioning himself very well, and he sees that there's a Bound Eye up on the Glacius. I don't think he's going to get caught. I will say that this is Silhouette's just in a really, really strong position now, and I think that he might just do so much damage that there's no answer for it on this Legion team. They need to win a fight. They need to go for him and prevent his damage. He can't be allowed to just beat on them, and it's very difficult when at a point he might have 3 illusions in the fight. Identifying the right one in enough time. I mean, Puppet Master is running around. He's only got 15 armor. Like, he dies really quickly to her DPS, and it's just going to be tough for him to get his abilities off. But here we go, Beef. The fight for the game.
It might be. Gauntlet ult going to be going out. They might grab Warbeast initially, and they will, but the Glacius ultimate doing so much work again. Gauntlet going to go down, as does Fade. Engineer biting the dust once more. Was it enough, though?
Interesting. Every support goes down. Just Silhouette and Sandwraith alive. Warbeast just barely survived, and he's actually able to health pot up. He has a DD. He might just go for the base. There's no buybacks.
There's no buyouts, and I think that they might. Silhouette just used her tree grapple right there. They've got about 8 seconds. Going to buy them some time with the glyph. Barbed armor going to be going up as well, and there's the Frostfield plate as Silhouette is going to engage. Does she have something to swap out to? She does. Not even going to need to use it.
Yeah, Pharaoh, oh wow, Silhouette going right in onto the puppet. Wow. He's going to go down. Dunk onto the Sandwraith. Will it be enough? The rocket will finish him off. Silhouette so very low, but oh wow, the green triangle. He's going to live. They get some damage onto the melee racks, but it wasn't enough. And I'm telling you, they had nothing to do with the Silhouette. He just wrecked them. And all the supports were dead, but they're still so afraid. 4-on-1. Well, 4-on-2, but still, Sandwraith can't really commit, and you just saw the reason why.
A very strong display right there from Dog on that defense. They, of course, did take about 30% damage on one of their tier 4 towers and about 20% on the other. So the clock starts to wind down even a little bit more, and they're still taking damage as the heavy ballistas were still continuing to assail that. But we'll see if they're going to be able to gain any map space. They shove out the bottom lane, but nobody else is alive to shove out the middle lane or the top. Where's their lane clear on this team outside of the Silhouette?
I mean, Sandwraith is definitely useful, but the supports really don't offer much in that department. The thing that I'm concerned about is now the Silhouette, he's approaching the point where he is 6-slotted. He can obviously get a post haste, but that really actually just limits his DPS in team fights without the steam boots. And I mean, he can replace the portal key, but that's been doing so much work for him. So he does have 2 buybacks, so saving a whole bunch of gold isn't that big of a deal. He gets the bottom tower with illusions, well done by him. But still, he's at the point where he's capped out. Luckily, they got a Sandwraith, so that's...
Oh, he's actually going back in right here. Shrunken Head is popped off. Going to force out the green triangle, and we'll swap out one more time. So, ballsy. Ballsy play right there. Was it necessary?
Not really, but, I mean, he escaped. And it wasn't too high risk as he did of a buyback, but at the same time, you know, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it could have been grim. But if you look at it, I'm just surprised. 50-minute game, we have nearly identical advantages. 1 in gold, 1 in experience. And they're for opposite teams, Beef. It's a very close game.
Well, the one big difference is that one team has 1 racks and tier 4 towers at 50% health. The other has tier 2 towers still up. So the resource advantage is certainly pretty even, but the map control advantage swaying a little bit in favor of MRR. But finally, that Sandwraith is pretty much online.
I'm really not sure what this War Beast has been doing. He had a Ogre Club for a second. Now it's a Warp Cleft. And I feel like if he hadn't bought that, he would have been able to finish his Demonic Breastplate, which is a huge item against the massive physical damage coming out from this Silhouette and this Sandwraith. Silhouette bought something. He rebought Shrunken Head. I love it. That's a really heads-up play, and that's exactly what he needed to do.
Still has the money for at least one buyback here, not necessarily two.
Yeah. You need to buy back twice, you've lost. I think that's the perfect decision, and I really like it because that fresh Shrunken Head enables him to live through the first round of triangles and to isolate and kill that Puppet Master, who again, still very, very squishy if Silhouette just attacks him a couple times.
And here we go, one more time. Racks of regen. Initiation coming on in on the backside. Silhouette is trying to go, but this Pharaoh has already generated so much space. Multiple fights going to be going on here. Engineer with a very nice keg. They are likely to be able to finish off the War Beast. No, he's actually able to get on out of there. The melee racks are going to be going down, and Pharaoh trying to finish off the ranged ones. That's not going to happen. This is a crazy fight.
Yeah, War Beast straight up shrunken and hit the racks, and I can't believe he's going to live. Glacius is almost certainly going to go down. Silhouette will find him, I'm sure.
He's got the green triangle in one. And the power supply, ring around the rosy. Screw it, man. Freezes himself. Don't know if that was quite the right choice, but he does make that Silhouette spend 20 seconds chasing him, not shoving out that lane. And so once again, down to just the ranged racks in the bottom lane, the ranged racks in the top lane. Same HP on the middle towers.
Yeah, I'm not sure, though. I mean, it definitely, I'd say that was a pretty even trade. You know, they lose 2 heroes for the melee racks, but again, it just gives the Sandwraith more time to get ahead. I'm just not certain. It's a lot on what the captain of Zito, Kana Peng, decides to do. They're going to go for Kongor, which is obviously the right move. Why not? I expect Sandwraith will take the token, which is just you know, Silhouette just doesn't have the room for it. And they're at a point where they can definitely win fights, but it's so hard for them to win the game because they have so few racks remaining. Just 2 range racks. At this point, they need to win like 3 fights to be able to make a play on the Legion base, and they have to be careful because at any time they lose a couple more range racks, they're fighting against Megas, and that's so difficult to come back from.
I mean, 3 melee racks down is already pretty damn difficult, especially when your opponent does still have those tier 3s. But Silhouette, once again, going to be doing the little bit of split pushing that she can, trying to take out this tier 2, and she may actually be successful with just the illusions.
Yep.
And about 20% life. It is going to survive. Next big items coming out. What do you think we're going to see from the War Beast? He did actually, it looks like he's going to finish up the Demonic. I'm not sure where the courier is with that.
That's the right move for sure. The one thing that he'll have to do is Silhouette will need to probably get rid of the portal key and buy a Genjiro. I think that's his really only upgrade here. He definitely has to get rid of it, but we'll see. I mean, the Z-Freak plan would be to have everyone buy post-haste and TP to a wolf inside of the Hellborn base and kill the racks. So maybe they'll give that a try. You're actually invisible when you port to the wolf, so you can just have suddenly 5 heroes show up and start beating on the tower, which honestly even just War Beast could do it. Like at this point, I feel like War Beast should just be able to win them the game. Just send wolves, send puzzle box. Like if you look at Vision, they have some in every lane, but still, it's just so easy to just do a little bit of damage. In the meantime, your team can be making other moves on the map, looking for pickoff, something like that. But again, the Sandwraith factor is really the only reason D-Dog is still in such a dominating position regarding map control, because they're so afraid at any time. If Sandwraith else, they have full information on what MRR's moves are, and it just makes the game so hard.
Pretty dang difficult indeed, and once more a pause.
Another strat pause. These guys are crazy with the strat pauses, man. But I mean, again, I did these so many times when I was playing with Stay Green. Like, it's worth it. It works. I mean, it gets everyone's head right. You get a game plan. There's just no reason not to do it.
Able to get the discussion, able to move forward here. And I mean, where do you think the mental state is right now for this MRR team, knowing that they were in such a massive lead early that they did take down those first 2 sets of racks with almost no problem whatsoever, and now they've spent the last 25 minutes trying to get just one more?
Yeah, I mean, it really all comes back to that quad kill. That's really the turning point, because that just changed the makeup of the game. And that's the reason this Silhouette is just so far ahead. I mean, he's at 600 GPM. He's full 200 more than this Puppet Master. And he's like the sole reason they're still in this game. I mean, if you look at damage done, okay, the Hellborn comes down to 2 heroes.
Sure.
It is insane. I mean, and just keep in mind that Sandwraith is obviously going to output a ton because he's using his ult all the time with a Mach, but the supports have really faltered this game, and Pink's play has really just kept them in the game.
Unfortunately, this Gauntlet sitting at the very bottom of that damage done chart. 2%, sitting on 1 and 7.
Indeed.
No items, no farm to speak of. I mean, it's been very, very difficult for this Gauntlet to have an impact, and we are going to go ahead and get back into the game now. The teams have their strategy moving forward. 55 minutes now in Game 2. Will we see a Game 3? Or are we going to be going directly to the grand finals? This is the game that decides. And it looks like the Fade getting kind of scouted out. And we get a Doombringer.
What?
And we get a Doombringer.
Whoa. What did he get rid of? Nullstone. That is ballsy. And he just reveals it middle. He doesn't care if they see it.
Doesn't even care, man.
That
you got to realize he's died once all game.
But he still has 2 buybacks. That is such a risky play. I don't know if I'm behind that. I'm sure the viewers are behind that, but
I mean, he's
wow.
got 4,000 gold still.
Yeah, but if you lose, that's a slot you lose. I mean, if he goes down,
True.
He's no longer the strongest hero in the game. That's the thing. And it's also, Nullstone's so nice to have. If Puppet can find him and get off a Puppet show, he dies in that ability, like immediately. Initiation could decide this game now because of that choice. And I gotta say, I'm just so surprised that neither Chidoan nor the support has had the time to farm up a Hellflower. I feel like Chidoan and a Hellflower, if he can just find the Silhouette and Hellflower at this point, he's just dead. I mean, he may go down too, but I mean, this guy hits so hard now. It's really interesting. I don't know what the play is. I mean, as you can tell, even with the token, even with the Doombringer, they're still saying 5 people in their base because they're just so afraid of the rat. And I don't think MRR really knows what to do to close this game out.
It's a pretty damn difficult one to close, and they've kind of missed their timing a bit. Sandwraith is way too big, and the Silhouette is a Doombringer. So, I mean, it's going to be difficult indeed. And even though the Gauntlet has had a subpar game, he can still hook you all the way back into base to those tier 4s and annihilate any member of that team. So, got to always be very, very careful. Fade sitting on the opposite side of the map, waiting for her cooldown to refresh once more. She would have actually been spotting out 3 players there if she had been in her ultimate form, but she was not. And instead, it's going to be just a little bit of hurry up and wait as both teams sit around and do a little bit of farming. Warbeast does finish up the Demonic Breastplate, so that's a pretty big item, especially if you want to go for the back door like you were talking about.
Indeed. It was really necessary. If he had that, like, you know, at this, I'll say a couple fights, which is like 20, 30 minutes ago, it would have been a totally different game. But at this point, it might be too little too late, although it really depends. Like, I don't see this game changing. This is the thing. Neither team, it's the defender's advantage. You know, they're in essence playing Risk at this point, except the risk is to whether or not they go to the finals, not who wins Greenland. And why fight outside your base? Both teams feel like they have an advantage the later the game goes, and there's just no incentive to leave. This might turn into like a 2-hour game at this point because they all have plenty of buybacks, and like I said, there's just no reason for either team to make anything happen. It's going to come down to who makes a mistake and gets greedy.
What did Sandwraith just buy there? Is that the Brutalizer?
It is. I think a Nullfire was the item for sure. I'm actually kind of unsure of why he chose that route. You can't purge off Void Talismans, correct? I'm not crazy?
I thought she could. I could be wrong. But anyway, I mean, there's a lot of crazy mechanics in this game. The thing that I'm kind of looking at right now is CS. Because currently the Silhouette has about 120 less than the entire other team combined. The CS is astonishingly low from this Puppet Master and Warbeast.
It really is. That's actually insane. I didn't even realize that. What have they been doing?
I mean, Glacius just stopped canceling one of his spells for a solid 15 seconds. So that's what he's doing. They're
just like sitting in their base. I'm just... Oh, geez. I kind of fear for MRR if they go up against BMG and they farm this poorly, because this is... I can't believe it. They've got barely like 700 CS between them in a 60-minute game.
Yep. And Silhouette with her Doombringer able to take down the middle tower. Escapes on out of there to go farm another 20 CS in the bottom lane.
I mean, 10 CS a minute is kind of like the standard for like a real hard free farming carry. And they barely have that with their team, let alone one player. I mean, that's just astonishing. And look at Silhouette. She's rapidly approaching 700. I mean, we'll see. At the same time, Silhouette's not getting any richer. So at this point, I hope he's buying the wards. He should have bought that last bound eye. And I don't quite know if his items are what we want him to finish with. I think that selling his Steam Boots, perhaps, and finishing with Genjiro, and I want to say Crit would be the most efficient slot for slot, but he certainly should buy a post-haste, I believe, so we can just start pushing out this top lane and allowing them to start making moves, because it's pretty obvious MRR has no intention of making anything happen right now.
So Quincy was just dropping a stat right there. We saw Punk Peng in that last game play an incredible performance. This one is record-breaking. The CS per minute seems to be the highest ever. And right now he's actually on the verge of breaking the CK record, which he said I think was 784 at 84 minutes. So he can break that by a pretty healthy margin if he keeps going at his current pace.
True, but at this point, it's actually inefficient if he were to break that record, because he can't use the gold.
Puppet Master is going to scout out and will open up onto the Silhouette. And Gauntlet is there to save the day. Pharaoh going to be going in with the hook, and Silhouette not going to be going down. No, he is actually going to go down. Where's the Doombringer? It's going to be on your Pharaoh. He was not able to get out of there. I thought that was an illusion.
Wow. And in the meantime, top lane, Warbeast takes out the range racks, and he might get the TP.
He will. Oh. Wow. What a play. What a bunch of players.
Wow.
So much for the record.
That, and if you look, I mean, what did this Silhouette just buy? He purchased an item, and now he doesn't have another Doombringer.
No buyout.
No buyout, Beef.
This is awkward.
There's the one mistake he was allowed to make. He can't make another.
Now, fortunately, the Doombringer is on a Pharaoh. The guy that is most likely going to die. He is the one on this team most likely to die if there's an engagement. The other guys have so many defensive items, and they're going to be standing in the back, whereas Pharaoh has to get right in the middle. He very well could initiate and then just drop a Doombringer for the enemy team.
To be fair, he's about as tanky as you can get. He just finished off a Shrunken Head, and he has 26 armor and a barbed armor. So he's also not really the target they want to go for, and I am just kind of flabbergasted. This guy went for another Doombringer with no buyback. I just don't feel like they needed to all in that much. Like, they were so afraid on MRR. He had to just get the smart, disciplined items, wait for a good token, and win the game off of that. But he's chosen to just kind of say, like, they just feel desperate, and I just don't think they are, even though they just have that one Rax remaining. But we will see. Kongor has spawned. I expect that to be the next point of contention. And you do have a Veiled Rot Behemoth kind of scouting around. Hasn't seen the Fade yet, who's actually just running around Invis. They don't have Dust, however. They aren't using the Cats Gaming trick, which I don't know. Have we brought that up yet?
I actually don't know that we have.
Well, long story short, if you have a Veiled Rot in your inventory, it gives you a notification when it's not able to be activated. And if Fade can see you and he's within 1,000 units, it will not allow you to activate it. and then you can just pop a dust because you know he's nearby. That was the Cats Gaming secret strat, but they're actually running around with counter wards on the Behemoth instead of dust. Otherwise, I think he notices that he popped and just boom, dust gets fade.
Well, the tier 4 in the middle lane is getting pretty dang close to being killed off right here. Very close, but this is one of the longest games, if not the longest game that we've seen so far in this tournament, Kyle.
Yeah, and I feel like neither team is just looking to change the status quo. They're just so nervous, and you can tell. Sanders actually going for the Shroud.
Probably going to get this kill. Almost. Oh, wow. Pharaoh just barely missing right there. That would have been another massive kill onto the Fade. He does have buyout, but instead they're just going to use this time to march on up. Good lane position for a siege in the bottom lane. And once again, they could actually just take out the range rack. This is the last one.
I think they just go for the racks, and Pharaoh can just sort of mess with them. There's a Gendra finished on Puppet, by the way.
Quincy getting the confirmation, and Puppet Master in some trouble. Going to be going back up. Will take out the Fade, trying to get away. Not going to be able to. Your Puppet Master will be the first to fall on the Legion side, but Warbeast able to take out the Rags. Is he going to be able to get away? It's looking like he may be able to. No, he's going to fall. Pharaoh going to be coming back up right here, and he will be taking one out. Is he going to drop this Doombringer? It's looking like Silhouette.
Oh,
And two Doombringers on the ground. The tier 4s, both of them drop. Silhouette barely able to buy out, able to clear out the creep wave, and now is going to go pick up one, maybe even two Doombringers. No, Glacius with the steal.
wow. What a dunk, man. I saw it coming. I wanted to yell, but geez. If he had been next level, dropped 2 items, picked up both Doombringers, then used the crit auto attack for the kill, that would have been the play of forever. But either way, taking out the Silhouette, forcing the last buyback, and then Glacius stealing the Doombringers. And he's
going to die. No, he's got the green triangle. This is a Shrunken Head going off. Is he actually going to die right here? I think the Silhouette might be in trouble.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no. He's running.
No, he doesn't. Wow.
He dropped a blink.
Oh no.
He's going to try to take a tower at least. But here comes Puppet.
Ooh, just a half-second late, man. The Puppet Show actually went off, but same frame, so we got the blink out in time. Again, rather glitchy ability, very tough to code, and it's had that happen a couple times now. It went off, but he still gets the blink, unfortunately. And he gets one Doombringer, so the play was worth it. He needed that because he just had an empty slot, and you can't have that in this game. Like 66 minutes in, you're the top GPM on your team. You can't not be slick slotted nearly 70 minutes
the throne
in.
is like pretty much dead here. So,
wow, we haven't even been paying attention.
I mean, I've been watching it. It's just dead.
Wow, and they're going crazy behind us.
There was no heroes there. How did they not defend
I don't know.
I was just watching them drag creeps into the well, and it was just dying. It was just dying. That was just...
D-Dog is speechless, man. They are just obviously
I don't know
off.
if they just didn't even notice that the throne was dying. They had to have, but that has to be one of the most anticlimactic endings I have ever seen to a game. As they watched their throne die, we watched it die.
It's because they went for the plays. That's the thing. Silhouette, he gets the Doombringer, and Sandwith poured it in, and neither of them had TPs. And that's like, I just don't know, man. He played so well, but he goes for the all-in play when I don't think he needed to. They were just 2 racks down. I've come back from 2 racks a couple times. Like, I've seen it happen a lot. It's not that big a deal. You have to play the disciplined game, get post-haste, get a real item. Go Doombringer if you're against Megas and game's on the line, but man, that's a crushing defeat.
Absolutely.
I mean, MRR, don't take anything away from them. They played great, specifically their supports. I think they had the highest impact.
Fantastic.
When you compare the impact that they had to the Fade Engineer combo, I think it was just clearly an advantage for the Glacius and the Behemoth. Like, Behemoth played so well, and that's just a well-executed game. It'll be a really good finals, Beef.
It is going to be a solid finals indeed, and of course, we now know those finalists. Bad Monkey Gaming coming from Europe, going to be taking on Neo MRR, the perennial grand finalists and second place finishers, looking for their first gold in quite some time. I think that they might be able to do it. We'll have to see, though. I mean, Kyle, this is going to be one for the books. And our first ever international team versus the Thai team in the grand finals. Our first time having BMG, this squad, in a grand finals. I mean, it's...
Let's just hope it's not also, or rather that it's also the first time we don't have a 3-0 in the finals, because, I mean, it wasn't boring for me, but I'd like to see, as a viewer now, a really long series.
Wasn't it 3-1 last year?
I would remember. I was there.
I was there, too. I'm not exactly sure, but
trust me on this one.
In any case, guys, those grand finals are going to be coming up, but right now we're actually going to throw it over to an interview with Breaky CPK and Hyper Zool. That's going to be coming up here in just a minute. They're going to be talking to the guys about the new map, Capture the Flag. So we're going to be throwing over to them in just 1 second.
Anyway, any final words?
I don't know, man. I think I'm pretty much good.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Good hunt.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys.